Startup Junkie.
Startup Junkie. Hey, it's Thursday here at andyharris.com, and it's still Startup Junkie Week. Woo! And all week we've been here with Melody Berenger, the Startup Junkie, talking about her new book, Craving Success, and getting all excited about next week's launch of Sherpa Magazine. Woohoo! So today we're talking about outsourcing, and outsourcing is a topic I get asked about a lot, and it comes up in Craving Success a few times. So we thought it'd be a good day to just kind of chat open and honestly about it, because it can be pretty awesome and it can suck if you do it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So what I wanted to just start with is to talk about what is outsourcing, what we mean when we say outsourcing. Because a lot of people just assume that when you say outsourcing, it means a programmer in India writing code. But it could be anything. It could just be paying someone else to do something for you. So it could be like outsourcing your cleaning to a maid. It could
I
be
like that one.
Yeah. Hiring a cook. It could
and
be these
Keep
are
going.
examples from Molly's life. Or hiring a graphics designer to just take care of all of your buttons and your graphics and your images and that kind of stuff. I've been doing outsourcing for a while, and I had a disastrous start in outsourcing. I won't name names, but I did follow some relatively noteworthy internet marketers' kind of plan for outsourcing to the Philippines, and I went through, I think, 8 assistants in the course of like 6 weeks.
8?
Shannon O'Donnell will verify this story because she was around for the whole thing and couldn't believe what was happening. I think the big mistakes where it wasn't really clear as to what I needed. You have to be really clear on that. And the other thing was, I think I was just in such a rush to get someone in. I didn't spend the time to be like, right, this is the scope of this role. You really need to treat it almost like like you're going to hire an employee full time.
Sounds like you were desperate.
Yeah, I was. But I have it's nothing to do with the Philippines. I have Philippine employees or people who actually just live there now, and they're awesome. They're probably listening now, so so it's totally fine. But you need to think about that first. Speaking of outsourcing, you had a really interesting blog post the other day on Posterous. Was it the One Hat Woman?
The One Hat Woman.
Yeah, what is the One Hat Woman?
Yeah. It was one of those, like, I need
one hat.
the monkey hat. That'll work. Yeah, I had a epiphany, about, it's like, what if I knew this 20 years ago that I only needed to wear one hat instead of wearing all of the hats? Major aha moment.
Yeah.
I used to think that I had to do all of the stuff, I never did the janitorial work, but I was responsible for hiring people to do it. I had to manage everybody. I had to, and being a manager means you have to be a therapist.
Yes.
It's all about drama when you have a lot of people that you're managing. And I was miserable, and until I realized you can spend all of your time doing what you do best and outsource the rest. But that took, I keep saying this every day, it took me 20 years to learn that. I'm like,
so write this down.
Learn this at the beginning.
Do what you do best and outsource the rest.
Yeah.
Do all of your business lessons right.
Yeah. Well, of course. That's the clever co-author of mine.
Yeah. So what you talked to us about that, because didn't you outsource part of the book?
Yes.
Writing. How did that work out?
I didn't know I was going to do that until the very end, but when I dumped it all out on paper, I'm like, ooh, this is barely okay. I don't want all those writers of the world to read it and find all the typos or the not so great grammar. So I outsourced doing that. But one of the things that my favorite outsource story is if you have the X and the Y, you can find the Z later.
Yes, that's a good story in the book.
So I brought my Z in, and my co-author was my Z.
Okay.
But in my Crave books, I had no idea how I was going to print them. But that doesn't stop me from starting. That 8-year business plan, I didn't write that. I went for it.
Yeah.
And halfway through the project, I found my Z, which was this woman in Portland. She was an overseas printing expert, and she took my book overseas to Singapore for that very first book, and she made sure the colors came out right. She figured out how to get it back to Seattle and how to get it into a warehouse for me. All of that stuff I did not know. So that was my big aha moment about outsourcing. It was like, woohoo, I can publish books. I have no idea how, but she knows everything, so I'll hire her. Yeah.
And that relationship's evolved, hasn't it, over the years?
Oh yeah, I actually had her do that for 8 years until I figured out how to do it myself. A lot of times I don't even want to do it myself. Sometimes I don't know, and that's why I outsource, because I just don't even know how to do it. But once you figure out how, and then maybe you can make a little bit more money if you do it yourself, you can bring it back in-house or not. It really doesn't matter. But so.
But and I think we talked the other day about is it okay to be a solopreneur? And it is, but outsourcing is a great way solos can really make a business that's hot, because they can shed some of that stuff that's not profitable.
Right. And we talked about this too. Me and you talked separately about this. We both outsourced our bookkeeper to start with.
Oh yes, yes, that was my first outsource.
Yes,
that was your first
me too.
Outsource.
But I've talked to so many people that will not outsource their bookkeeping because they feel like it costs too much money, or they need to figure it out themselves first. But that is so not what I'm good at. And you?
No, it would be bad.
Yeah.
And I would firmly believe that my bookkeeper makes me money.
Totally.
She pays for herself. Definitely.
Definitely. That's the mentality that you have to get into, is the person that you hire, anybody that you hire to outsource is going to pay for themselves. Yeah. Way better than you struggling for hours and hours and figuring it out.
Yeah.
And making mistakes and
they'll do it faster.
Having to pay taxes, more taxes because you did it wrong.
And it goes back to that thing of what you were saying, that what you're really good at. And that's, you want to develop that skill or skills, if it's a set of skills, and hone that, because that's what people want to pay for.
Yeah, so the key is doing everything, spending all of your time, or at least 80%, 80-20 rule, spending 80% of your time doing what you do the best.
Yeah.
Get rid of everything else.
And that's hard in the beginning, because if you're starting something, you may need to be involved in lots of things, like systems and making decisions about, are you going to go left, are you going to right? But as soon as you can, you have to start shedding some of that stuff. You go insane otherwise.
Totally.
Because that's where, when we were doing that for a while. I was doing a lot of the SEO kind of technical stuff, and my friend Shannon was like, "Why are you doing that? Like, how much time are you spending on it?" And I was like, "I don't know, like a couple hours every evening." She's like, "What? Like, stop doing that!" Like, yeah, and it makes no sense. I didn't need to be doing that.
No,
I need to be thinking about what we're doing next year or not.
Yeah, that's what we do. These right-brained.
But it's hard, because you can very easily get into that groove of I'm doing all of it because I'm too cheap, or I'm too scared, or I'm too...
I think most people, ever since I wrote that book, I mean not the book, the blog post on the One Hat Women, my biggest response was, yeah, but how can you afford it? And if you can get into the mentality of how can you afford not to, as soon as you can get there, the better. Because you're going to be on this video in a couple years from now saying this very same thing.
Yeah. What did you say to me? We were just talking about this last weekend, because I'm trying to hire an assistant. And you were like, you just need to do it, because then you'll...
Right. Most people, they can't bring that first employee into their life because they don't think that they can afford it. But once you bring it in, it's like, get it off of your plate. It will magically appear. Money will magically appear somehow, and you'll be able to afford it.
There's a lot of people Danielle talks about that a lot, like, things happen. And so...
It will come back to you. Give it away.
Definitely. So if you're not thinking about outsourcing, consider it. Think about it. Be open-minded. I would say you need to look at all the things that take a lot of time every day and say, do you really need to be doing those?
Now we got to learn how to outsource our Twitter and Facebook.
Yes. We need to outsource video production too. So think about outsourcing. Think about signing up for Sherpa. You can do it down below, because you'll get a chance to win a signed copy of Craving Success, Startup Junkie. And like it if you like it. Tweet, Facebook, do what you need to do. If you have questions for Melody, questions for me, if you want to just say, oh my god, these are so awesome, more monkey hat, more cowbell, then leave the comments. They're just down below. And then tomorrow we're going to be talking about, it's our last day of Startup Junkie Week.
Are we going to have a cowbell tomorrow? You keep bringing up cowbell.
You never know what will happen on andyhayes.com. Okay. You really don't. So tomorrow is our last day, I'm always saying.
I know.
But it'll be good. It's TGI Friday, so it's going to be some good stuff. So be sure to stop again tomorrow where we're talking about something really special. I'm not going to tell you. We'll see you tomorrow here at andyhayes.com.